Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? We're all doing very, very well. Now, I'd love to be able to say to you that I've got such sights to show you with a new trailer for Hellraiser 2022 on Hulu. How do you do? It's Hulu! And Disney Plus coming out October the 7th. That's just a couple of weeks away, folks. Right in time for Halloween, yes. Well, I would show you it, but I watched it this morning. The trailer dropped about 14 hours ago, something like that. And I watched it and I thought, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm on board with this. Yeah, looks all right. And then I watched it again. Then I watched it again. And then I watched it for little bits and bobs I may have missed. And the more I watched it, the more I thought, oh, you know what? This ain't doing it for me. Isn't that weird? I initially watched it and I thought, yeah, we need a new Hellraiser. I love Hellraiser. Well, let me be more specific. I love the original novella, The Hellbound Heart, by Clive Barker, of course, local boy. I love his original movie, which is fantastic. I love Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. I don't love anything that came afterwards. Hell on Earth is... it's okay generic teen / bullshit. With some pseudo Doug Bradley, Pinhead, ecclesiastical sort of pseudo gospel, subverted godliness, and then all the other movies afterwards were just Doug Bradley doing that same routine. In fact, playing more of a bloody Freddy than anything else, just making cameo appearances. They even took him to space, for God's sake. Ridiculous. But then again, if Leprechaun could do it, if Jason could do it, why can't Pinhead do it as well? Anyway. And then Clive Barker lost the rights to it. Clive Barker, a bit like John Carpenter, sold his soul. Pretty much all of his stuff has been marketed and redone and rebranded, and someone else has done a take on it. And his own cinematic creative flair really has gone. The imagination and inventiveness he showed with Hellraiser and the likes of Nightbreed and that are genius. Of course they are. But all his filmmaking is very problematic. The films, if you look at them properly, there's a lot of great ideas, a lot of stupendous visuals. Some would say that's all you need, Kilt-Man. Stop being such on your high horse. No. A story and proper cohesive characters and a good script also go a long way. And the fact that he's a damn good writer kind of always flies in the face of why are your films not that. The dialogue's garbage. The narrative flow isn't particularly, the ace of spades. They're doable, they're serviceable, and they're getting by on atmosphere, visuals, and in the first two examples of Hellraiser and with Nightbreed, fabulous scores. Christopher Young, who did the first two Hellraiser movies, second to none. He does the eeriest, most majestic, huge operatic horror scores that's going in the modern world. And then Danny Elfman did Nightbreed. Great stuff. In fact, wonderfully baroque and wonderfully sort of carnival-esque with a dark slant to it. Great stuff. But nothing else has stuck in my mind whatsoever. So now we get a new Hellraiser. It is not a sequel. It is not a prequel. It is... I'm not even sure if it's necessarily a reboot. It's just another Hellraiser story, which is perfectly fine. Because the whole structure of Hellraiser and the Lament configuration, anyone who picks up that box and works it out, Cenobites arrive and shit will hit the fan. Usually with the sound of chains and whips and leather, and slicing of flesh. But it couldn't fit any time period. It can fit any bevy of characters, but with a good story behind it, it's perfect. It's ripe for multiple stories, for an anthology-like series, which I do believe has been mooted, and there is supposed to be a Hellraiser TV show. So I've heard, but again, I don't know. There's so many things coming out these days, and you just lose track of it all. But this is a standalone movie, Hellraiser, just called Hellraiser, 2022, whatever. And it's directed by, hang on a moment, by David Bruckner. And it's a story by Clive Barker and David S. Goyer. But the screenplay is by, hang on a second, Ben Collins and Luke Oh God. Piotrowski, something like that. And yeah, you guys already know. You've probably seen the trailer already. That we now have a woman, a transgender woman, is playing Pinhead. That's Jamie Clayton. Now, stand by and watch all the flack that's going to head her way for that. And the makers of this, oh God, you've got to do it. A minority, group, and wokeness. I have no problem with that whatsoever, because Doug Bradley, who is the best Pinhead, I don't think she's going to try to compete too much with him. And judging by the trailer, she's not going to come anywhere near to the stature, the grandeur, the dark, debauched, suave, sinister, macabre level of Doug Bradley as Pinhead. But she can bring something else to the mix, because A, she's female. The Pinhead was meant to be sort of androgynous anyway. Clive Barker is a very, very publicly gay man. A lot of his narratives and stories revolve around all sorts of different sexuality, different types of people, different types of creatures, mutants, aliens, whatever, But it's all meant to be subversive and taboo breaking. And the fact that you've got a transgender woman playing such a terror icon as Pinhead, that fits right on in. As far as the Hellraiser and Barker universe is concerned, that's perfectly apt. So don't have one single issue with that. But there's some kind of voice thing going on there. I don't think that's Jamie Clayton's voice in that trailer. I mean, it's obviously that's the character Pinhead's voice. But what I'm saying is it's been manipulated. It sounds a bit like there's several voices rolled into one there. There's like some kind of Batman voice changer going on there. And when I first saw the trailer, I thought, oh, that sounds good, I like that. But the more I've watched it, I'm nodding over there at the screen when I was watching it. And the more I've watched it, the less enamoured with this incarnation I am. Because, as I said before, the dialogue, the deity sort of inverting and subverting sort of verbiage that Pinhead comes out with, it's all very biblical, and the dark underbelly of the church. It's all gospel, but just dragged through the cesspits and all that. That's the kind of style that they're going for, and it works with him because he has a wild, weirdy quality to him. Like, you've done this before. Ashley Lawrence says to him, like, Kirsty. He's like, many times. They love what they do, the Cenobites, but they've been doing this for a long time. There's no secrets really. You can run, you can't hide. We will come and get you at some point. You solved the box again. We came. Here we are. Cue the chains and the whips and the hooks and all that, and the spectral sort of shimmery, misty blue lighting and all that. But when she comes out with these lines, the lines are bollocks, and they are. I don't think that. And that's the trailer, and it's just what. In fact, I've watched it, say, about 6-7 times now. And at the end of the trailer, there's 2 lines that she comes out with, Pinhead. I don't know what she's saying. I cannot understand it. And of course, on the stream I was watching, you couldn't put subtitles on. They were unavailable. So I've still got no idea what she's saying. And I was like, what? Is it just me? I've got too much hair in my ears. I don't know what's going on. I can't hear I can't understand what she's saying. I like the fact that you've got the Chatterer Cenobites back in there, because you have a character. Well, okay, let's say what the story this is. And we know next to nothing about this story. And that trailer doesn't give a great deal away, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. And it's a lengthy trailer as well. And it does show a lot of scenes and imagery. And there's a fair bit of dialogue in there. And a few diverse characters. But you've got no idea what the actual story of the movie is. Unlike, say, Halloween Ends, where they can pretty much show scene by scene by scene. It's just like you watch the movie condensed into 30-second, sort of TV slot. But anyway, the idea is sadly they seem to be teens. A lad has solved the puzzle, and obviously, and all that kind of stuff's taking place. And his sister is now trying to track him down. and she will encounter the box, the lament configuration, and obviously she's going to find out what really does happen, and that's it. But the lead is played by, a character's name is Riley, and she's played by someone called Odessa Azion, or Azion. It's A''Zion. Don't know who she is. But you've also got, the way that the trailer's constructed, it starts off with clearly what must be her brother, I presume, is in some kind of really big, dark, satanic warehouse in the middle of nowhere. Ominous blue, nightmarishly stormy, but dark blue sky. And there's the lament configuration. But in a clever little camera move, we see it's not just the box. The box is actually stretched out with like a almost Leviathan shaped connecting piece. So it's two boxes, and then you put it together, and you've got that guy from ER, that Croatian actor whose his first name's Goran, his surname, I don't know. It is, let's see if we've got it there. Goran Visnich, something like that anyway. But he was a bit of a heartthrob in ER. Not quite to Clooney standards, but I know a lot of women seem to like him. Well, he seems to be the guy who owns the box, this configuration of it anyway, and he's got this lad there, and he's like, well, what happens? It's a puzzle. It's almost complete, and if I do this, do I get a prize? The lad says, and he's going like, I do. So obviously, is this some sort of like, well, I'm in debt to these bastards, and I've made a pact with them to give someone else to them, so you're going to be it, mate. Like that could be it. I genuinely don't know. But it sounds like that sort of deal is taking place, this sort of Faustian pact. The whole thing is built on a pact. It's very Faustian anyway. So, and then obviously that could be the brother. He gets offed, cenobitized, and then his sister comes to try to find out what's happening. And you do see there's an almost Necronomicon style journal with all diagrams and illustrations, and she's turning through this. And you're learning it's got 6 sides to it. It's learning the history and the lore of the configuration. And you can see on her fingers, she's got all plasters on her fingers. And that might not be the sister. That might be someone else that she learns off all the details of the box from this other person. But this person does say, it's a box. But when you work it out, it cuts you. Well, the box itself is not meant to do it. I know. Some of the hooks and chains do come out of it in the initial Hellraiser and start tearing that very, very, very suspect latex flesh created by Bob Keane way back in the mid to late 80s for the first Hellraiser, and it was shocking and grisly in its time. Its ideas still are, but you watch it now, it's actually surprisingly tame. You already thought, oh, this broke bounds. It did, but now we've had so much more since then, that it's sort of it's now attained what Barker always wanted from it. In a way, he wanted to harken back. He wanted to barken back to the old gothic horror stories of Hammer, and that cozy suburban feel mingled with the gothic elements of the Hammer movies, and he did achieve that. Of course, the first 2 films confuse everything by actually being filmed and supposed to be set in Britain, in London. The house in Dollis Hill, South London, I think it was. Where he filmed the first one and part of the second movie. And then, but we've got American cops there. What's going on there? New York coppers. Yeah, well, the reasons for that are long, convoluted, and very stupid as well. And you could have got around it a lot easier. But anyway, it does add a little sort of mythical relocation. We're in a place beyond the norm already. This house exists in its own sort of universe. But anyway, I'm just trying to protect it there and give it the benefit of the doubt. But I love the first movie, regardless of any of these little weirdness, and especially the second movie. That's where the cops come in, but with the guns blazing and all that. But yeah, so you've got quite a bevy of characters in this, but they all appear to be teens. That's going to be a problem for a lot of people already. What have you just turned this into a teenage stalker / movie? Have you? Is that what you've done? but you're also pandering to minority groups by having a transgender woman in the central role of the lead Cenobite. Is that what you're doing? I don't know. The thing is, the main cast that you see, they're clearly just generic fodder. The film is photographed in the trailer. It seems very nice, seems very slick, seems very moody, atmospheric, but it also seems a little bit slick, a bit too glossy at the same time. You can't help that. Films made nowadays, and they're going for that aesthetic. They're going to look a certain way. They're not going to look like a film from the 80s. Even when they try to do it, they do not look as grungy and as raw as a film from the 80s, or particularly the 70s. No one can emulate that. Not even Ty West. Oh no, he does pretty well at it, to be honest. Oh. Waffle, throat dries up. Gotta lubricate, haven't you? The score for the movie, this new movie, is by Ben Lovett. Now, Ben Lovett might not be Christopher Young, but I do like Ben Lovett's scores. The Night House he did, and of course, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which I loved. And the score for that, I did videos on that movie and on the score itself. I like Ben Lovett's style of music. He has a quality of eeriness and a metronomic sort of pace that builds up a nice rhythm. I mean, I'm not saying that this film is going to have that, or even the music that we experience in the trailer might not even be his. I genuinely don't know, and I don't remember it either. But it's not Christopher Young. Christopher Young's stuff is just superlative. Even when he's doing sci-fi or a fantasy, he still has this musical size, scale, and grandeur, and it feels like, imagine a big musical onion, layers upon layers upon layers. And he often has tracks, Hellraiser and Hellraiser Hellbound, both exemplify it, where you're mutely journeying through something really, really mysterious and eerie, and each layer just unfurls and unpeels, and you're dragged deeper into it. His music is perfect for that. Whether Ben Lovett can accomplish that with this movie, I don't know. Some of the imagery, you definitely see someone is spread-eagled with hooks and stuff for him. A bit like Andy Robinson, of course. The great Andy Robinson, Scorpio from Dirty Harry. And that pain-in-the-arse police chief from Cobra. But, you know, he's Frank. Frank has taken the skin from his brother and put that on. But he's cheated the Cenobites. And, of course, Kirsty tricks him and the Cenobites then get him. And, like, Jesus wept. It explodes. You've got a guy spread eagled like that with all the chains through him and hooks and stuff. And there is blood in the trailer. People get cut from the little spikes from the box. There's blood bubbling out of a plug hole, a sink. Oh, there's that old concept again. You know, how many times have we seen that? Blood from the plumbing. Jesus wept. So I don't know. I was going to show you the trailer, but I thought I've just talked you through it. And to be honest, you're not going to glean too much from that trailer. The makeup for Pinhead, well, I don't know. Initially from imagery which went out there weeks and weeks ago, you started seeing imagery popping up. And I thought, oh, yeah, that looks all right. Got to remember there was a bald-headed female Cenobite in the original, and the original Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2. And very curiously sexual she was as well, even though her throat was sort of ripped open in a sort of vaginal orifice, and sort of, you know, little wires pulling it back. Very, very grisly, and but yet sexy at the same time, which of course is the point. It's pain and pleasure, indivisible, you know. And that's what Barker seemed to be really promoting. That was the whole point of it. Very clever. But the look of what's her name again? Jamie Clayton is, again, it looks a bit too slick. She's got her throat ripped open. She's got the sort of, well, looks more PVC than anything else. And all the pins, the nails, you know, banged into her bonce, her baldy, pale bonce. It doesn't look as effective as it does on Doug Bradley. I can't work out why. I can't work out if what they've done, it's been a sort of CG with drawn on lines. or whether they actually have applied, a big makeup appliance with these things stuck on and plastered it to her head. I would presume they have, because if she's going to be central to it, she's going to be seen up close, and the camera's going to linger on because she's such a beautiful and sinister and scary, eerie sight. You want to be transfixed by it. So I presume it would be a genuine makeup effect, practical makeup effect. But looking at that trailer, I'm not sure. I don't know. And in the throat opening, there's something in there, some kind of like shiny jewel type thing, or gold type thing. I don't know. Whether it's one of the faces of the box. You opened it, we came. Whether it's a piece of that that's in there, I don't know. Or that kind of imagery and symbolism. I couldn't tell you. What other details do I have? Well, it's called Hellraiser. It comes out October the 7th, which is just 2 weeks away, on Hulu and Disney+. I'll put the link to the trailer down below, and let's see what you think. Let me know. Comment below. I can't say any more than this. I wasn't wowed, but I was initially sort of, oh, well, that looks all right. In this age where legacy movies are getting sequels and reboots and revisits and reimaginings time and time and time again, but mostly with lackluster results, let's be perfectly honest. Texas Chainsaw, Jeepers Creepers, oh dear. Don't bother with Reborn, folks. Do not bother with it. I can tell you now, don't bother with it. I'm not even going to waste my time reviewing it. It's that poor. It's so bad. Yeah, I found it on, somewhere where I shouldn't have been looking. And I watched a good 25 minutes of it and then thought, oh, I'm out of this. This is diabolical tripe. But then you got your Screams, your Halloweens, your Texas Chainsaw Massacres and all that. And other stuff as well. But the quality of these things is, there is a huge drop off, isn't there, from the originals. So anyone going into this expecting something great, you really are barkering up the wrong tree, because it ain't going to happen. I can tell you that now. It's not going to happen. But it could still provide a lot of atmosphere, a bit of gore. It could still push a few buttons. It could still be taboo breaking. You want that. There's still plenty of room for that kind of thing, even in this day and age where seemingly anything goes. But you could still push boundaries. Just remember something else, that you do see Leviathan as well, swirling around in the clouds and coming down from the clouds, and that huge sort of labyrinth beneath. And there's some stone steps and sort of, I don't know, big gothic castle type hell like places with big doorways and corridors and spookiness. So you've got a much bigger sort of scale to it. But that said, I don't think there's much money in this movie. It's not a big blockbuster. It's not like that, nor should it be. The original movies were not. They were low budget. But a low budget creates infernal creativity and imagination, and the best genre movies that we all know and love and revere have been low budget. But that hasn't stopped. All their ideas and visions are on the screen, and what they've made do. And look at the Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. Still, to me, looks fantastic. Practical effects, incredible stuff. The original Hellraiser, practical effects, incredible stuff. This slick, probably comparatively far cheaper to have made, I suppose. But also, it looks slick and glossy, and it doesn't have the rough edge that you want from something like this. Because Hellraiser, when you watched it, you felt sort of uncomfortable, and you be checking. They have dirty fingernails. Frank always had dirty fingernails, and you feel grubby, and you're looking for little cuts. Was that a chain, a hook? Like past me then. You got that. With this, I suspect it's just going to be really. You won't come out of this feeling unclean. Put it that way. Could be a good thing. Could be a bad thing. I don't know. But check it out and let me know what you think. Because even though I might sound like I'm dissing this I genuinely want things to work. I want to watch that and go, wow, I really enjoyed that. I want to enjoy it while it's on. I want to enjoy it afterwards and go, I want to watch that again. And then, some elements didn't quite work, but overall I really enjoyed it. I hope that's the case. I really, really do. And it is nice to have something all over the forums and on YouTube now, which is not Halloween Ends, because I'm already sick of Halloween Ends. God, aren't you? Jesus Christ. Halloween hasn't even started yet, and I want it to end. I'm joking, of course I am. But yeah, don't bother with Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Please, don't insult your own intelligence. Don't insult your own eyeballs or your own ears with the insipid, dreary lunacy of that movie. It's so bad. Funnily enough, looking on forums, as I always do, to gauge people's opinions and what's happening, and I also get a lot of information from the forums as well. These things don't just come into my head. I see details from somewhere else and go, I'll talk about that. In America, looking on the forums for this, it's generally very favourable. In the UK, however, oh no, it's not. And Clive Barker's a Brit living in America, and his stuff was largely set in Britain. Hellraiser is a British movie. Hellraiser 2 is a British movie. Pete Atkins made the second one, of course. But American investment and obviously American marketing. Hence why you got American coppers in it. Blah, blah. But an American accents, people being overdubbed and all of that with America. It's just, I don't know, whatever. But, where was it going with that? where was it going with that? But the Brits don't seem to like this trailer from what I've been looking at. Yanks like it. Brits don't like it. Ooh, I can't work it out. But me thinks there's irony there somewhere. I just haven't quite worked out just where it is. But I'm sure it's ironic. So, anyway, there you go. That's almost half an hour talking about a trailer which I haven't bothered to show you. Just check it out yourselves. You'll see what I mean. And you probably go the same route as me. You think like, oh, do you know what? That looks alright. It looks edgy. It looks going to be nasty. It's gruesome. She's an eerie, sexy, weird sort of vision. It could just be right what Hellraiser really needs. Then you watch it again. You go, And then you watch it again. Or maybe you don't bother watching it again. But it seems to lose its edge quite quickly. So those hooks and razors become quite blunt very soon. But anyway, folks, I have been on Shabby Kilt-Man. I will report more upon this because I'm going to watch it and I'm going to give it a full-blown review. And I genuinely want it to be great. Or just good. Or just, well, that was okay. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it on this level. With a franchise entry, because that's all it is at the end of the day. What more could you ask for? You're not going to get a masterpiece. It won't happen. It can't happen. Not in a franchise entry where you're trying to connect bits from the past and bring in new fans and try and keep the old fans happy as well. But you've also got to pander to certain things, And I'm not talking woke. I'm talking pandering to bring in like bloody bunch of teens in just to try and get teen asses on seats. Even though those seats will be at home. I still can't work out how films that are streamed actually become a success. Prey, fantastic. Prey, 50 Shades of Prey on Hulu and Disney Plus. Loving it, still loving it, but it's got its failings. I did discuss them as well. Anyway, I've prattled on for far too long now. So, Hellraiser. And you may look, I haven't got much merch from Hellraiser. I've got merch from every other movie that I love. But I've got nothing apart from the Lament configuration. Oh, maybe I've got that. I've got that. But that can also work for The Fog and for Dead and Buried as well. But I was thinking about banging some nails into my young friend here, Mr. Kentucky Fudge. Banging some nails into his baldy fod. But, I can't do it to him. don't think he'd sit still long enough anyway, to be honest. So folks, anyway, keep it kilted, keep it kilted, and I'm going to see you all 15 laters, when maybe I will have such sights to show you. You try saying that after a few drinks, because before I did this video, I had about 4 or 5 aborted attempts where I wasn't saying such sights. I was saying something else.